Well, Tony, what overall was the lessons or takeaways from Saturday night?
You know what? Anytime you lose a football game, it hurts. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and if you're in our profession, I mean, losing sucks. You know, we're a group of people that goes out there and puts in a lot of hours, players and coaches, to go win football games. So when you lose, it sucks. But watching the film, our kids battled every single down all the way to the end. Very proud of them for that. Obviously, there's things we got to do better and go back and fix some things right there. And from an offensive standpoint, anytime we come up short, you know, we feel like our job, no matter what the score is to always score one more point than what the defense gives up. And we didn't get that done in the game, and we got to go back and fix some things and make sure that doesn't happen again.
How would you evaluate how Art played?
You know what? Art played his butt off, to be honest with you. Okay, he gives you everything he's got out there. Team's behind him. He fought all the way till the end. Did Art play a perfect game? No, but I haven't had very many quarterbacks that have played perfect games. So Art's awesome. He came in yesterday and he's ready to fix the few things. Hey, these plays where I maybe made a bad decision with the football or whatever, and get it right. And that's what I love about the kid. And he can't wait to get back out there. And you know, I'm excited where Art's at right now.
How much freedom do you give your quarterbacks at the line of scrimmage to kind of audible or get into different coverages or schemes based off what the defense is showing?
Probably our main thing with the quarterbacks is we've got a certain type of plays where he's going up and making sure we're either going one direction or the other in the run game. He's got total control of override, veto power, and all pass protection right there. So he's got quite a bit of power up there. Now, we're not sending our quarterback to the line of scrimmage like back in the old days and just checking plays and calling whatever he wants. But you know, he has a lot to do with our protections and which way we're running the football.
You guys have tried to get Julian involved in some packages on the line. Is there a way to continue to increase his snap count, or do you like about what your 5 or 6 are doing right now?
No, you're talking about Julian Pearl.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Julian's been helpful with what he's doing right now, moving forward. Julian's going to also probably have an opportunity to get in there with the 5 offensive linemen up front at some spots. You know, we're thin at offensive line. We need to have his body type in there right now. So, you know, he's going to be a guy moving forward that's going to get more snaps in the offensive line.
Obviously, Brett Lancer, Brandon, his health and all that, but when he does come back, what does Brandon give you? Because we obviously haven't seen him a lot on the field yet with you.
Yeah, Brandon's progressing better than we thought right now. Obviously, that's a question for the head coach
Right.
as far as when he's going to be back in the lineup. But when he is back in the lineup, you know, BP gives us a lot of experience. He's got elite arm talent right there, and a really good football player that I'm excited when he does come back in there to watch him play also.
Tony, when you script however many plays you do early in the game, like how cognizant are you of just trying to get guys confident, especially at quarterback and at certain other skill position players, just get them some confidence early on and get that momentum?
Yep, you know, early in the game, we're trying to script plays that give us a chance, what we kind of call the, you know, different looks for the defense. We're trying to get the quarterback's confidence, get him started, get the ball in certain people's hands. Obviously, in this game, you know, we didn't start the way we wanted to offensively on the first 4 drives, and that's on us. We got to get that fixed, especially as coaches. That's on me. We got to do better there, and we will. The great thing that we got going for us is when we have to leave the field and we got to go out and send our punter out. I think we've got the best punter in the country, and what he does for us in flipping the field is unbelievable.
Would you make your offensive line and what they were able to do, or their struggles?
Yeah, you know what? Our offensive line, at some of the spots, we're not as big as we would like to be, but our offensive line played well on Saturday. Obviously, they're like the quarterback. They could have played better. You know, we had no sacks, but we did have some hits on the quarterback that we got to clean up and keep the quarterback more clean in the pocket right there. But overall, I thought our offensive line played good.
What do you think about Daniel Barker, his ability to get all the space and how to make some plays happen?
You caught Daniel Barker?
Yeah.
You know what? Daniel had a big game, obviously, and he's a guy, you know, when you look at, you're talking about targeting offensive guys, we've got to get him targets. Now, the flip side of that is Luke Ford's just as equally a special guy, and he had 1 catch, and I've got to make sure I do a better job of getting him his touches also, because we have 2 tight ends that we feel like are really good football players at this level, and they both need to have the ball in their hands.
UTSA seemed to really load up the box on you, especially with those edge pressures. Like, what's the key for you guys and to kind of combat that?
We've probably got to do a better job of getting the ball pushed out on the perimeter. You know, get the ball into guys like Isaiah's hands, and some of those guys on the perimeter have some more type of plays for that. And then we've got to do a better job executing on the one-on-ones on the sideline. You know, they were fortunate and they had some big plays offensively for them on the sideline, and we had a couple misses right there. And you hit a few of those plays on the sideline, the one-on-one matchups, it totally changes how a defense can play right there. So, you know, we've got to do a better job of pitching and catching on that, and also do a better job from a coaching standpoint of getting the ball out on the perimeter in those type of situations.
Coach,
Tony,
I
how
got a
do you
chance to see the Virginia game against William and Marietta, and what you see from their defense, if you've watched that tape.
You know what? I think at the end of the day, Virginia's probably going to have one of the top 3 or 4 defenses that we play. They're very experienced. They're unique. They're kind of a 3-3-5, 3-4-3, 3-4-4 type of a defense. You know, they're good up front. I think that's the strong part of their defense. Their D-line. Their linebackers are long. You know, I remember playing them back in the day when I was in the Big Ten, and they're one of the longer teams I've ever played. You know, they got a lot of length. They recruit long, tall people. Their linebackers are big and long. Their DBs, other than one, they're all over 6 feet. They can run. I mean, they do a good job on defense.
Tony, how do you assess the running backs? You know, Mike didn't finish the game, but him and Reggie in particular, and then the debut of Josh McCray.
Well, I mean, I'll start with the running backs. It's you ask about it, and I say it's awesome when we had what we thought 5 guys that we could play Big Ten football games with to start the year, because running backs don't always last a lot. You know, they get dinged up. They got to go down for a game or two. Like right now, Mike got dinged a little bit in the game and had to come out. We had already planned on playing Josh. Very excited where he's at. He gives us something totally different. He is a freshman, but with his size out there and his girth and running up the middle and even on the outside, we're very excited where he was at in his first appearance for us, and moving forward, he'll keep getting the ball more.
On that same note, how important is it for you to get Chase Brown and Chase Hayden? I guess Chase Hayden was a little bit more importantly. How important is it to get Chase Brown healthy?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we can get him back in there, I mean, I can't wait. I mean, I think he's progressing, you know, like BP very well, and hopefully he'll be in there sooner than later. And you know, I mean, we need him. We need him all right now. So can't wait to get him back in the lineup.
We haven't got a lot of looks at Chase, just he had a few carries against Nebraska. But what does he do? It's a little different than the rest of the guys that you'd like to work in.
I mean, he brings a lot of experience to the table, played a lot of Big Ten games. I think he's not as big as a Josh McCray, but he's a thick kid. You know, he's strong and he's got some speed. He brings very good vision to the table. I mean, we need to get him back in there. He's important to us.
What do you feel is maybe the advantage of using as many backs as you have the first 2 games, just been pretty fairly even carries?
I think the advantage of it is when you get some backs dinged up, you got guys that have been playing. So you're not just throwing somebody new in there. If you look at it from a disadvantage sometimes, you know, you might not have backs really getting into their juice, getting those reps going. You know, when you in my past, when I've had 1 or 2 backs that are getting most of the snaps, you know, they're getting into a groove and they're getting the ball, and they just keep getting better and better as the game goes on right there. If there's a negative to playing with more backs than 1 or 2 really, that's probably it. The positive side is we got a lot of guys getting snaps, and if we get guys dinged up, we got guys that play.
How do you strike that balance then? Because it seems like it's pretty kind of a fine line there.
It is. It's a fine line, but you know what? We've had a few backs dinged up to where they're not totally 100% ready to go, so we have to go with the other guys right now, which is kind of where we've been forced to be at this particular point, and not all 5 guys have been healthy at once, so we really haven't had to have that issue right now.
Tony, Deuce has a really high hit rate so far of making big plays when he's in the game. How much can he handle in the offense right now? And given his production, does he get a bigger role as he, I guess, learns more of the route tree and offense from that?
He's got to get a bigger role every week, and Deuce is super fired up. We're fired up about Deuce. Love where he's at right now. We just got to keep pushing Deuce, and he's pushing himself, and we're going to do that to get to where he knows more and more of our offense, so he can be in there more often. Which the more we've got him in the football game, the better off we are. He's a long, athletic, extremely fast person, and that's what you want out there.
Is it similar to Isaiah with him understanding a little bit of the offense, so it makes the transition easier, or how has he kind of progressed?
He's moved over later than Isaiah did. And Isaiah got in the slot a little bit earlier, knew he was going to do it from the last couple practices in the spring, then all the way through the summer, all he did was focus on slot receiver. So, you know, there's a big, even though we're not practicing or playing, that's a big span of time right there that Isaiah spent locked in on the slot, and Deuce was still locked in on quarterback.
Tony, you talk about finishing drives. You had to settle for 3 of them times. Is that something you're going to be emphasizing this week in practice?
You know what, to be honest with you, we're always emphasizing touchdowns in the red zone. You know, the one thing you can't do is go down and settle for field goals. Our field goal kicker's as good as I've ever been around, and thank God he is, because he really helps us out there. But we, as an offense, we got to strive for touchdowns in the red zone, and points per trip is what we're looking at, and 3 points per trip is not our goal down there.
Tony, you mentioned a couple lines on the line that, or a couple spots on the line that are not as big as you would typically have. How do you guys as coaches try to game plan around that? What do you need out of them to kind of, ease some of those physical?
You know what, different type of protections, slide protections, helping those guys out. Maybe getting a guy like Pearl, working him in some spots right there with some size. But, we've got to help them out as far as coaches, and then, they got to win their one-on-one battles too. So we just, we weren't terrible there. We got just a few more hits than what we wanted our quarterback. But Art made some great decisions and really extended some plays with his legs and picked up 2 or 3 key first downs out there. So, we got to do a better job protecting him, and then, we got to do a better job at quarterback making the good decisions when we're throwing the football.
What do you think about Isaiah's performance, particularly on that last drive? I think he had 3 catches for 3 first downs to give you all a chance to extend the game.
Yeah, you know what? And I go back to the whole unit right there. We had 2 2-minute drives, and we needed a field goal and a touchdown to go into overtime right there. And our kids fought all the way through it. We got the field goal on the first one. Isaiah and some other people, Casey, that catch he had on the sideline, what our offensive line did. I think we had to throw the ball 23 times right at the end of the game in those last 2 drives. Had no issues with pass protection right there. Art made good decisions in those 2 drives. And then we came up short. We ran out of time, but we put ourselves in a situation where on the last play of the game, we had a chance to tie it up and go into overtime, and we just came up short there.
Art, what do you think about him the guys out of bounds? Like, I collectively took a breath off. I didn't know if you had that in him, but I guess what the guys think of that, and what you just say when you're breaking down film and you see a guy.
I mean, Art plays with everything now. He leaves everything on the field, and our team's behind him on that. They love him for that. I hate to see quarterbacks be diving out of bounds and getting hit in the legs like that. That's not what I want to see. But I love that kid and the way he plays.
How much confidence does it give you that you can kind of open up the playbook a little bit after those 2 drives at the end of the 4th quarter when you were kind of speeding things up and going more with tempo?
You know what? We were forced into that situation, and it's nice to be able to go out and function in that situation. Our kids handled it well. We moved the ball down the field, quickly and efficiently, took care of the football, and like I said, we came up short, but we gave ourselves an opportunity to be in it at the end.
Tony, I know what kind of athlete he is, but after 2 games, his first 2 games at wide receiver, has Isaiah even exceeded your expectations of what you thought you could get out of him as he makes his transition?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and then I guess I'd probably say no, because just at his God-given ability and what I see out there, I think he's got special abilities, and not only catching the football, natural ball catcher, route runner, with the ball in his hands. I mean, he's a special talent with the ball in his hands at the slot position, and I think he's just going to keep getting better every week.
Okay, thank you, Coach.